So we said last time that I preached, that I like to do a summer series, a summer kind of a series of messages, and I came up with this idea, I think it's of the Lord, of doing a season or a series of completion, a series to complete some of the things that we've looked at, some of the scriptures that we've looked at over the last, number of months, especially while we were still on stay-at-home orders and all of that. And so I'm returning today to Psalm 122. We looked at that. That was our first Sunday back in June. And I want to go back to it both this week and actually next week too, because there's a little bit more there that we want to look at. So let me read it out loud to you, and then we'll have our children's challenge. Okay. Psalm 122. I rejoiced with those who said to me, let us go to the house of the Lord. Our feet are standing in your gates, Jerusalem. Jerusalem is built like a city that is closely compacted together. That is where the tribes go up, the tribes of the Lord, to praise the name of the Lord according to the statute given to Israel. There stand the thrones for judgment, the thrones of the house of David. Pray for the peace. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you be secure. May there be peace within your walls and security within your citadels. For the sake of my family and friends, I will say, peace be within you. For the sake of the house of the Lord our God, I will seek your prosperity. So we'll look at some more of that, but first, the children's challenge. So here's the challenge. I'm going to talk today in the message about two problems that people today are facing. Two problems that are kind of we're all concerned about. And actually you might be able to see more than two, but find at least two and see if I can tell you, if you can think about what you hear, what the church might do about those problems, okay? So at least two problems, and what we, the church, might do about those problems, okay? So I have been asking you this question, and I'll ask it again. Are you still glad? Are you still glad to be in the house of the Lord? Psalm 122, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. That's the King James. I know what we read. That's why it threw me a little bit. The NIV says it just a little differently. And we started looking at this back in June, and now we're looking at it again, and next week we'll try to wrap this up. But I was glad. I was glad myself. I hope that you were as well. And why? Why does David say we were glad? Well, for one reason, because he was invited, right? He doesn't say who they are, but they invited him. More importantly, God invited them, right? God invites all of us. God is honored when God's people meet together to worship God. So picture this scene. We looked at this idea once or twice already, but here all these pilgrims are, and they're marching up to Jerusalem. This is a psalm of ascent. Remember, a psalm of ascent. I hope that's okay. But these are the psalms that they were singing, some of these psalms. And it was a very festive occasion, right? They were going up. It happened 3 times a year. It happened during 3 big festivals. Now, in the Bible, in the Old Testament, you'll see there are 7 festivals in the Old Testament. 7 festivals. Jesus participated in all of them. But only 3 of them were you called on to come to Jerusalem. The other ones you celebrate in your home or in your synagogue or wherever, your town, wherever you live. But for 3 of them, Passover, Pentecost, and one called the Feast of Tabernacles, which always took place in the fall, these were the 3 big festivals, bigger than the others. These were when all the Jews, or as many as could come, gathered together. And we remember what Acts 2 says about Pentecost. Remember? There were thousands of people in Jerusalem. Thousands. And why do we know there were thousands? Because 3,000 of them came to Christ that day. So there must have been thousands more than that who didn't. And they're singing. You know, here's the scene. They're going up to Jerusalem. They're coming from all around. And they're going up to Jerusalem, and they're singing, and they're laughing, and they're having a great time. And they're getting up there. You know, it's like one of the best family reunions. I'll bet at the Cherry family reunion there was a lot of joyfulness and maybe not a lot of hugs and stuff. You know, we can't hug right now, but you know, just fun and happiness and celebration. Or I thought of annual conference. Now, Brethren Annual Conference had to be canceled this year too, like everything else. But Brethren Annual Conference, you get there and folks are there and they haven't seen each other for a whole year. And so they're loving on each other and they're shaking hands and they're hugging and all that good stuff. And of course we have heaven too to look forward to. And I think that's what heaven is going to be a lot about. But here's David, and he's saying, I'm joyful, I'm happy, I'm thrilled, I'm overjoyed to go up to the house of the Lord. Because David knows, or at least seems to know, what a blessing it is, right? To be together as the church, to worship together, to fellowship together, to offer praise, to offer prayers, and of course, simply just to be together. It's so hard. A lot of churches are still meeting online, or they're having these parking lot services where everybody stays in their car, so at least you can see people, but you can't, you know, really talk to them or anything. It's so hard. Church was never meant to be that way, and it's okay. It's a compromise. It's something we can do, but I just keep praying that this will come to an end and the church, universal, capital C, can get back to being the church together again. And it's one of the lessons that I learned, I hope that you learned it as well, that we should never take for granted the opportunity to be together, right? I mean, you know, I fear that we do, but I hope that we won't. That we will say, thank you, Jesus, for the opportunity to be together. I think of a lot of my friends who still aren't back to church, and they really miss it. I spoke with someone last night, and he said he is so lonesome for human contact. You know, he's staying home. He helps take care of his 87-year-old mother, so he's being extra careful. And but he's so lonesome. He's so lonesome to be together with other people. And you know, we have folks in our church. You know, look around. There's a lot of people that still aren't back, and that's okay. We understand. They're being careful. They want to take care of themselves or those whom they love, and they don't want to take anything home with them. So that's okay. We understand. But we also don't want them to be forgotten. We don't want them to feel like the church has forgotten them. So here's what I'm asking you to do, and I'm going to keep asking you to do this. Just notice who's not here, right? We know who's here. Notice who's not here. And then just give them a call. Send them a note. Send them we can text, right? A lot of us. Send them a note or a phone call or a card or something. Just let them know how much we still care. Tell them we're saving their seat, right? All the seats at Eden Church are reserved, and we're waiting till they come back. Their seat is ready. And when they feel comfortable and they feel confident, that's okay. You know, we're going to wait. But think how joyful we will be once everybody is able to be back. And that's David's gladness here. I was glad. I was joyful. I was happy to be able to go back up to the temple do so with other people, to do so in this great throng of people going up to Jerusalem. This is a plural, I'm trying to say that word, I'm having trouble. Plural psalm, plural, more than one. Some of the psalms are just individual psalms, right? Some of the psalms, they say, "Oh Lord, hear my cry. Oh Lord, listen to my voice," right? But this is a plural psalm. This is all of us together, right? This is a congregational psalm, if you will. We're all saying it, or they were all saying it back in the day. But, and we can see that. Look at verse 2 if you have a Bible and want to look. Verse 2, "Our feet are standing in your gates, O Jerusalem." Our feet, right? It's not my feet, it's not your feet, it's all of our feet together. It's about being together. Or verse 3, now this is interesting. Verse 3 says in the NIV, "Jerusalem is built like a city that is closely compacted together." Now if you've seen pictures of Jerusalem, that's true. That it's like really tight, the little buildings, the little houses, just everything, the little passageways. Sometimes you see the Via Dolorosa, which is the way of suffering. It's all just compacted. But I did some study, and the Hebrew here actually means something else. It means not the buildings or the walls, but the people. The people, it's closely compacted together, and it is, of course. There are, probably thousands of people that live in this little town of Jerusalem. Compared to big cities today, it's the walled area of Jerusalem in the Holy Land is very small. The Jewish New Testament, which is one of, any number of New Testaments that we can look at, but the Jewish New Testament has it this way: "Jerusalem is built as a city fostering friendship and unity," fostering friendship and unity of the people, right? And that's what church is, right? That's what we're here for friendship and fellowship and unity, as much as for worship and for praise. The 4th of July was a couple weeks ago, and it was, rather subdued. I mean, I heard plenty of fireworks. You probably did too. Because all the big shows were canceled, so all the kids were shooting them off. But it was, it used to be, and it will be again, a big day, big parades and all that stuff, all that had to be canceled. But I read about 2 of these polls, they make phone calls and they get people's opinion. And 2 of these polls that maybe speak to where we are as a nation today. And one of the polls said that we are more unhappy today than we have ever been. I don't know if that's true, but this poll found that we are more unhappy. And I wondered, well, why is that? Why are we unhappy? The psalm says, "I was glad, I was happy, I was joyful." But the poll says, no, we're unhappy. Well, maybe, obviously, it's because of the COVID and all that, but it's also because of loneliness. We are more lonely as a nation than we've ever been. I'm guessing that this thing has something to do with that, right? Because a lot of people are just so lost in their phones, and they don't realize there's people around you, to talk to. But another reason probably is because we are kind of divided as a nation. We're, people, it's kind of like black and white, red and green, whatever. And a lot of times people that believe this won't mix with people that believe that, or they hold it against them or something, But church has always been the place to come together, right? The place to be together no matter what we think on the outside or politically or whatever, to be together. It doesn't matter, who we vote for or whatever. And yet, of course, we also know that church attendance is down. It's down because of COVID, because a lot of churches haven't yet gotten back to meeting. But it's down for other reasons too, and part of it is the birth rate. I heard a good story yesterday about birth rate. Birth rate is like 1.7 per couple. So that's not even replacement level. So you guys had 3, praise the Lord. We had 4. We all did our part, right? We don't want America to dry up, right? We don't want the world, and it's worldwide too. It's not just here. So that's one of the reasons church attendance is down. 50 years ago, everybody had 4 and 5 and 6 kids. Now, if you have 2 kids, praise the Lord, you're doing good, or 3 or 4. I know a family that has 6. Good for 6, not 7, 6. They might have 7. Who knows? They say they're not going to limit. But church used to be so much more the gathering place. It isn't so much anymore. And sometimes it is because of politics or whatever. But divisions have always been there. So think about all these Jews that are going up to Jerusalem, all these folks from all over the place, all over the world, really. Remember Pentecost, they speak all these different languages. And do you think all those Jews believed exactly the same? Do you think they all thought exactly the same? Of course not. There were divisions in those days. There were the Pharisees, there were the Sadducees, the Herodians, the Zealots, all these different names that we come across in the Bible. But they knew how to come together to worship. They came together for these big festivals. They knew how to do that. And I know that's true here at Eden too, and I rejoice in that. I know that we don't all agree on everything, and that's okay. What do they say? Variety is the spice of life. It's good. It's good to be thinking on our own, have our own thoughts and our own feelings and so forth. But to be able to come together, that's what's important. I was glad when they said unto me, who is they? Well, guess what? They is us, right? They is us, people from all walks of life. We're here in Eden, we're blue collar, and we're white collar, and we're pink collar, and we're no collar, right? We're labor and management, we're Republicans and Democrats and independents. We're a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll, right? And also the gospel music and the classical music. We're from the red book and the blue book and no book, because right now we're no book, right? But we're young and old, we're men and women, we're children, we're older adults, we're single, we're married, we're widowed, we're divorced, we're Ford and Chevy, right? Oh, talk about fighting words, right? Ford and Chevy, right? But we're Honda and we're Subaru and we're pickup trucks and we're hybrids and we're motorcycles and minivans. We're saints and sinners, all of us. And I was glad when they said unto me, because they are the people that God has put me together with, and you are as well. Our feet are standing in your gates, O Jerusalem. Our feet, all of our feet are here, right? We are here by God's grace. Jerusalem is built as a city fostering friendship and unity. We as the church, this is something the people out there are yearning for, right? And it's something that the church can do for the people of this world and of our nation and so forth. That we can show how we can get along together, right? We are in a time of great division in our nation and even in our world. But we have a message to share, a message of togetherness, a message of friendship, a message that doesn't, keep tabs. Well, you're red, you're blue, whatever. No, it doesn't matter. And I love you folks. I love Eden because I know that that's true. Because you tell me, right? Well, I disagree with you, Pastor, and that's okay. No problem there whatsoever. As long as we love one another, as long as we care for one another, as long as we continue to walk together. And we can offer this to the world. This is something that the world desperately needs. And really the people out there are yearning for it. What is that phrase that we all hear all the time still? We're all in this together, right? How many times? You probably couldn't number them. How many times you've heard that over the last several months? We're all in this together. Well, that's true. And sometimes you don't see it out there in the world, and certainly you don't hear it on the news media, but we are all in this together, all in this together. There's a lot of loneliness, there's a lot of hurt, there's a lot of disunity out there, but we are all in this together. So let us go forth from this place with that in mind, with the love of Christ in our hearts, a love that overflows, right? The joy that overflows our hearts out into others. I was glad, I was joyful, I was happy when they said unto me, let us go to the house of the Lord. But I was also glad when they said, go on out and spread that joy around, spread that love around. Let others in on God's secret as well. It shouldn't be a secret, right? We don't want any secrets. We want to share the love of Christ. So go forth from this place in the love of Christ. And I'm not sure I covered my children's challenge because it looked like you all were getting a little hot, a little tired. I know how it is. So, but you guys, you kids, you tell me what you think you heard, okay? So go forth in the love of Christ, and God be with you till we meet again.